And we're live.
But I think Hillary has got something in her ear, and if that's not an earpiece, someone needs to pop it because it's disgusting.
I don't know.
Yeah, if that's not an earpiece, it's some kind of
You ever
pustule.
get a blackhead in your ear?
You need to watch the video because that's not what it looked like to me when I watched the moving video. Video's harder to fake than a still image. And
Kind of blackhead.
it didn't look like that. Yeah, I've had that. It's all.
So it's like, so just to be clear, like it's a blackhead, like in that part of your ear, the part of your ear that's based against your head. Like it's not like it's out here and I can like pop the it's in the ear, like
I've
there.
Had two
right there.
Things in this family. One is like you're describing, and it wasn't a blackhead, I don't think. I think it was a whitehead. And it's like, oh, there's something painful here. And then upon pressing it, it bursts.
No, so mine doesn't. Did yours burst like liquid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about blackhead. So it's what they had to use a tool in my ear. This very hot dermatologist. I was like 13. She uses this tool and she sticks it in my ear, not like in the hole or anything, but you know, in the surface of my ear that's against my head. And she has to push. It's like a loop that goes around the blackhead and applies pressure everywhere but where the blackhead is. And she is pressing as hard as she can. Her hands are shaking. And I'm thinking like, she's just going to punch through into my goddamn skull. Like I don't know how tough that part of my flesh is. And then it pops and I can hear it kind of like make this crunch noise. And these huge blackheads she was popping out of my ears. Now, the other thing, there's like 3 of them, and I cried. And she said, now keep your ears clean and this won't happen again. And so like the other thing that I've had is like on the ear lobe, this little part in the bottom.
That's the other one.
That you can get like a ball of infection in there. It feels like a
behind it ish, right?
No, that's different. Now, if you get it behind it, that's an inner ear infection that's causing that. If you get it back here, that's what's there. You're feeling a ball of inflammation and infection that's inside your ear canal that's causing that. What I'm talking about is inside this little bit of flesh here that hangs at the bottom of your ear. Inside of it, when I would squeeze it, I would feel a hard BB like substance in there. And like you kind of roll it around between my teeth.
I've had that.
And one day it starts getting bigger and bigger and more inflamed and painful to the point where my ear, if you look closely, is larger in that area. And I was just like, this thing has to be popped. So I got a big fucking needle and I put a little ice on my ear, like let it get numb. And I start slowly inserting this needle into my ear. And at first it doesn't want to go, but I'd never like stabbed myself before. But then it pierces the flesh and it's like a pop and it's in and incredibly painful. And so much pus came out of my ear and blood. It bled forever. Like ear wounds bleed forever. It was disgusting. So much pus and blood. But
this is disgusting.
Yeah, no, I just have that. It feels like in this part of my ear, right, where the earlobe connects, maybe I need to take special attention to make it clean because every so often, I don't know, every couple of months or something, I'll get a pimple in this like pocket back here.
Yeah. Sometimes you get them in places that aren't easily popped. Like you can't just get some flesh together.
This is the easiest space to pop on my whole body. I feel like I can reach almost behind it and pull it forward. It's
I had a pimple or whatever you want to call it, like right here on my neck one time, like right there, kind of by my Adam's apple. And I was 19, and I don't know, it just got out of hand. It kept getting bigger and bigger, and I tried to pop it, but nothing would happen. It would just make it incredible. It would just rough up the skin, and it would get a scab and get further infected. And I remember when it finally popped, there was green projectile pus. I'm talking about this thing made a crunch. There were crunching noises, popping noises, and I watched the pus fly to the mirror, and it was green. When I finally, using both hands and like 4 fingers, popped this motherfucker. It was gross. That's the worst I've ever had. And I still remember it. I was 19 or 20, one or the other. If you want to see a lot of stuff like that, if you're into popping, there is, of course, a subreddit, r/popping. You can go on there and you'll find people like popping all kinds of things, all kinds of boils and ingrown hairs and pimples and blackheads that like they just keep wringing them out over and over, squeezing until like 6 or 8 inches of pus has come out and made this loop-de-loop coming out of their face. You'll see like they'll get in their belly button and like scoop out blackhead type material out of their belly button.
When I was
all kinds of.
When I was in high
Earlier when
school, I used to get pimples on my back, and they'd get big fast. Like within 20 minutes, it'd be the size of a marble almost, right? Like under the skin, a marble, or maybe even the shooter marble, the bigger ones. And
Eggy.
I'm not sure why. I think it might have been related to this weird bromine pool that I was on the swim team, and then just a reaction I had. But what was weird is it would go, and in like 20 minutes I'd have a giant pimple. I could reach back and pop it, and it didn't hurt very much. Like this part of your skin's
crunch?
Not that sensitive. I just squeeze it, and then I'd feel it burst.
Oh
And
my God, this
it
is
would
grossing me out
it
so
would like
much.
pop. I know that if someone was behind me, I could like have shot
Get
them
'em.
or something. Yeah, and it would pop, and then like 10 minutes after it's popped, gone. And this girl was like, "Ooh, you got that giant pimple on your back," and I'm like, "I know. Like sometimes I get them in like 20 minutes, but watch." And I pop it, and she's like, "That's gross." I'm like, "I know it is, but it's gonna be gone in 5 minutes."
Yeah.
5 minutes later, she's like, "Yeah, like there's no sign of it." You know,
I
you know,
remember
normally
the
when you
locker-
pop a pimple, like it's almost a bad idea. Like it can take longer for it to heal because you popped it.
Did you ever have those people in your high school? Like, you know how they say, like, don't pop your pimples because it's not good and it'll just spread the bacteria or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have people in your high school that had, like, gross, like, whiteheads and giant pimples on their face?
Sure.
And, like, it was just, like, fucking go to the bathroom and pop that. Like,
Yeah, let me give you a
you're
little
already
tutorial.
in too deep. Like, what do you think is going to happen? If you pop it, are you going to get a really gross zit? Because you're already there.
Can I do
You're
my
already
tutorial first, Kyle? Because it's really fast.
Mine is yours. Go right ahead.
All right. So, yours is mine? It's the same thing?
Well, yours doesn't cover all skin types and acne types because you had a very specific kind of acne, and I have a much scarier, oily skin kind of sebaceous gland acne that makes these hard, ingrown hairs that you have to pop and like weasel back out of you. And then I use this whole treatment with alcohol and Neosporin to make everything right. But I think you use a hot washcloth to scrub off the tops of the whiteheads, and I don't get whiteheads.
Yeah, so if I have a whitehead, one that like would be nearly ready to pop, take a hot washcloth, a clean hot washcloth, put hot water on it with no cold mixed in, you know, like as hot as you can stand it, and then wipe it off, and all the tops of the whiteheads will be gone, and it'll be ready to heal. You'll look 100% better in no time at all. All the whiteheads are gone, and now like by tomorrow, you'll be 3 levels better than you were before.
See, but I don't think you get blackheads when you've got a solid piece of pus like
it's rare
stuck in your skin that has to be like squeezed out and like removed from the pore. Like it's solid stuff clogging your pore up that you just have to get out of there. And it's not liquidy, and it doesn't like it's not even like those whiteheads that slowly like create this little like thing of pus coming out. Like there'll be like a knot in there that has to be gotten out. Of course, nothing like that video we watched way back when the guy had the one on his back. And it was so gross that the woman popping it was wearing double rubber gloves and doing it outdoors. That's how dirty it was. She's like, I ain't even doing this shit in the office. Let's go out back. And she's like squeezing this big fucking thing he's got on his back. And I mean, I'm not talking about, like an amount of pus equal to like a dime. I'm talking about she squeezed out 3 or 4 ounces of pus, like enough, like 3 or 4
Enough
shot
to fill
glasses.
like a 5-hour energy.
At least more than that. No, more than that. Like legitimate, like enough to fill up a Red Bull. Like she squeezed out. She kept like doing this number with the flesh on his back with both hands, sort of like, and normally when you pop a pimple, you're like getting 2 fingers and like trying to pop it. She's using all 10 of her fingers and hands like she's kneading a loaf of bread dough.
I googled that kind of cyst and became a temporary expert on it. Apparently. But like as you said, they're like that. His wasn't unique. Other people get them too. They smell terribly when you pop.
They were vomiting.
Yeah. So the whole room, like I don't know if they outside or the whole room or whatever. But anyway, everyone nearby was like just taken over by the odor from it. And if you don't get it all, it's likely to come back. Which is why she was so diligent about getting every ounce.
Remember when
I would
Wings
rather
had his
watch a beheading than watch that video. It was disgusting.
Whenever they lanced Wings Boyle, I believe I remember him saying like how smelly it was. And I think maybe in the video, like the nurses or whatever, they're in there are like, whew, all right. And they open the door, if I remember correctly, like to allow ventilation. And I think with his thing, and a lot of like situations like that where they're not sure if they got it all, they like put a wick in there so that the infection sort of wicks out of the wound, and then afterwards they come back, pull the wick out, irrigate the wound. Like they got to be real sure that you're not going to get septic, I guess, after this pimple popping.
Yeah, Wings I think is prone to that because he has folds in his front, and that can be hard to clean. So,
can we please never talk about that and stop it right now? This grosses me out so much more than any video of a guy vomiting on someone else, or of someone getting beheaded, or like fingers chopped off, or getting caught in like a grinder.
Now
we looked at pictures of a guy.
Talk about an abscess tooth. See, that is the pimple of the mouth. All right. So what you got then is like beneath your molar, you can have this cavity filled with that fills with an infection. And it produces more and more pus, more and more, until it's putting pressure on the nerve and the tooth and everything else. And you get this awful toothache. And there's only one thing to do. You get back there and you push against the gum, the gum that's where the tooth is flowing through, and you pop it. And your mouth is instantly full of a little cum load of pus. And it tastes like that, too, I would imagine. Never had one, but I've known people who had them, and instead of going to the dentist, they just popped them about once a week and would just spitting
go to the fucking dentist, you animal.
I went to the dentist to get my teeth whitened like a month ago or 3 weeks ago, something like that, and she was telling me about abscess teeth like that. And she was one of those crazy people that likes popping it, like when someone comes in with one of those infections that needs to get all the pus out. It's like her kink.
Like, fuck yes.
Yeah, it's her thing.
It's totally a female thing. It is a weird thing. It seems like every girl I've met likes popping stuff. Like they like getting over there and popping the zit or something. Like I don't know. Sorry to interrupt. It's just like a weird little thing I've noticed.
It's funny when you say stuff like that, and then I'm in the same position. Everyone's like, "Oh, I just learned something about his girlfriend." Right? Because everyone knows. Like it, I feel like
now with this. I took Accutane. I don't get zits. I don't get anything that you can pop anymore, and I haven't for like if I get a zit. Like I felt earlier this week a tiny little bump forming here, and I was almost like, "What the fuck? Like what's happening to me?
What are you
like
doing here?
Nothing ever came of it.
Out a long time ago.
Yeah. Don't you know you're not welcome around here? Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, okay.
I don't get anything.
I misread that, but it's funny. Like if I were to, for example, talk about like a sex thing, like everyone knows. There's not a whole host of people to be talking about. Like it's like, oh yeah, so Jackie does that, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I would get my mom to pop them when I was a kid. The ones on my back, because I just can't get back there, and she would pop the ones on my back. It always felt good too. Like it's a very like if you've got a big one that's like inflamed. You want that thing popped. You want somebody to pop it and then rub it with rubbing alcohol. It feels all cool all of a sudden. The pain's gone. Yeah, back acne is disgusting. Backne, as it's known in the acne treatment circles. SkincareAddiction, for anyone out there who's really struggling with this sort of thing, is another good subreddit. Those people will give you advice based exactly on your skin type and any other concerns you might have if you have.
They're real experts, and you see them. It's almost inspiring, like because like on one hand you don't want to be too vain or whatever, but on the other hand, like if someone has like bad acne and cysts all over their face and the scarring is setting in, and they don't fix it in a week, like it's like 3 months of like diligent good skincare, and you're like, whoa, like that person really changed their usually facial skin for the better. And it's almost as inspiring as like the weight loss. People who lose like 200 pounds, and you're like, wow, like she's hot now. The SkincareAddiction guys go through a similar positive transformation.
Oh man, so the worst. I don't even like looking at these Google images. I'm not going to look at them. I'm just going to give them to you guys. The worst is when it's unnatural acne caused by like PEDs. If someone's doing steroids, you're going to get a lot of backne. And some of these bodybuilders get chest acne and back acne, the likes of which you would never find in the in like the natural kingdom without sticking some Dianabol in your ass first. So there's that. Oh, speaking of your ass, anyone out there who gets bumps on your butt, I figured out how to fix that about 2 years ago. That's one that always bothered me because you can't pop those. The skin's just not right for it back there. You're gonna want one of those like loofah things, those floofy things that ladies use to wash up, and you're just gonna put some salicylic acid acne medication on that every single day and scrub the shit out of your butt. You scrub your butt real good, and you never happen again.
You know, an actual tip, this has nothing to do with popping, but if you have dry lip skin, I guess I learned this from Accutane, because that introduces a whole new host of problems, replacing all of acne, though. So didn't have to deal with acne at all. But take a wash rag, get it nice and wet with warm water, and then gently rub your lips, and it will take off all of the dead skin on your lips and make it way more comfortable and make your lips look better too. Make them feel better. You don't feel like flaky or crispy or anything. So I don't know if that's a problem anybody has, but
I use a lot of.
It's very similar to my Whitehead tip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, I use a lot of chapstick, and because my lips get chapped, it's a real ordeal.
Yep.
Man, when we were talking about Taco Bell like 2 hours ago, I was hungry. I was hungry as shit. Like, I was so hungry.
Still
and now
hungry?
I keep looking at my trash can right there like, you're going to get it. Like, I'm going to puke into that trash
Yeah, that's
can.
not just you. This is the grossest thing for me that we've ever talked about on this show.
Really?
It's disgusting. Hearing all your little tips and the septic holes of pus.
Yeah, I've been dealing with acne my whole life. Yeah, you got to fight it off. Yeah, it's rough stuff.